This video is to help you understand how to invite your recommendation writers into your Common App account so they can upload your recommendation. The screenshot here shows my practice account, which lists two colleges on my list, SUNY Albany and Union College. The My Colleges tab within Common App contains information requests and questions that pertain to each individual college that you have on your college list. This is different from the questions found in the Common App tab, which would be released to each school, every school on your list. Under the My Colleges tab, under each specific college, you'll see a section listed Recommenders and FERPA. You want to click on Recommenders and FERPA. If you haven't filled out the education information, under the Common App tab, you'll need to go and do that first before it allows you to invite any of your recommenders. So you can travel to the Common App tab, click on Education, and find your school. You can indicate Lake George Central School, which enters that onto your Common App education page. And then you can return to your My Colleges tab. Again, clicking Recommenders and FERPA at this point allows you to take care of the FERPA release authorization, which we won't discuss today, but that controls your access to view recommendations. There's information that you'll want to read on that screen. I have already gone and taken care of that through my practice account. This next section, though, is the space where you can invite recommenders. And the mantra that we share with you to keep in mind is ask, invite, and assign. So the first step you want to do before you go into your Common App and take any other steps would be to ask that recommender personally. Have a conversation to see if they would be willing to write for you and find out the details of that agreement. Any sort of information they might need from you, such as a resume or a sit-down meeting, the time frame that you'll need to give them to get the recommendation done. But always ask them in person. It's the considerate thing to do before you send them an email requesting information be uploaded from them. Once you've asked and they've agreed, your next step will be to go into your invitation manager. This is the screen that you'll use to add recommenders to your bank of recommendation writers. And as we'll see, there are various types of recommenders that you can invite. So let's start by inviting your school counselor. Under the Type drop-down menu, you can select Counselor. And then enter the information, the name and email address for your school counselor. It's important here to double check to make sure you've spelled their name correctly and provided the correct email address. Common App will use that email address to send your recommender instructions on how to upload your information. So if you misspell or leave out a letter in their email address, they'll never receive the invitation, and that will slow down your process. Once you enter the information in for the counselor, you can send the invite, which generates that email and adds, in this case, Mrs. Earl to my list as my counselor. You can go through and do the same thing for teachers. In this case, with a teacher, it's going to ask you what subject they taught. And let's use Mr. Elder here as an example. So again, I've entered the information, double-checked the email address. Notice the message here underneath the Add Recommender button. It says, please note that this individual will only receive an invitation email once you assign him or her to a college. So by clicking Add Recommender, I'm taking the second step, which is to invite. So I've asked them personally. I've now invited Mr. Elder and Mrs. Earl. In the case of a teacher recommendation, I have to go and actually assign Mr. Elder to at least one of my colleges in order for him to receive the email from Common App. So I'm going to close out of this now. You might go and invite additional recommenders, but to take you to the third step, we're going to stop that for now and see how you assign a recommender. Back on the My Colleges tab, again, you notice that my SUNY Albany application sections are open here. I could just as easily click on Union College and it'll show me what I need to work on for Union. And I'm going to click on Recommenders and FERPA for Union here for a second. Okay. What you'll notice is that even though I was working under the SUNY Albany tab, the SUNY Albany Recommenders and FERPA tab, when I invited my counselor and my teacher, they show up here under Union College as well. So Mrs. Earl is already assigned to Union College as my counselor. It assumes that you have the same counselor regardless of the school you're applying to. However, when it comes to teacher recommendations, they allow you to send different recommendations to different schools. So it's very important that you pay attention to this next section under the Recommenders and FERPA tab for each of the colleges you're applying to. In Union's case, you can see that they require one teacher recommendation. They allow 2 additional or optional recommendations for a total of 3 teacher recommendations. Right now, I only have 1 teacher in my recommender bank, so it shows Mr. Elder there. I can click Assign, and you'll see that it has assigned Mr. Elder as a recommendation writer for, in this case, Union College. That is what is going to generate the email to Mr. Elder. He actually is getting one now and is probably going to be wondering why I've requested that he submit a recommendation for me on Common App. But that's the process. So asking personally, inviting through the Invite Recommenders section, and then going through college by college to assign each of your recommendation writers to the colleges you want them released to. So just to finish that task, I'm going to click on SUNY Albany. I'm back to the Recommenders and FERPA. Actually, I got to click on that to open that up. Again, Mrs. Earl is assigned as a counselor, but I have nobody assigned as a teacher recommendation. SUNY Albany does not require any. It allows me to upload as many as 3 optional recommendations for a total of 3. So I'm going to click Add Another. That allows me to assign Mr. Elder to SUNY Albany as well as Union. And this kind of underscores the importance of going through and making sure that you've assigned your recommenders accurately. If I went through the whole process with my SUNY Albany application and never assigned a teacher as a recommender, Common App would allow me to submit that application. SUNY Albany does not require any teacher recommendation. So that could be a misstep. We could always send recommendations a different way, but to be efficient and timely, you'd want those recommendations going with the rest of your Common application. So that's one thing that can happen if you don't go through and assign teachers to each of your colleges. It's a little bit different for Union because Union requires at least 1 teacher recommendation. So if I forgot to go through this process, never assigned a teacher recommendation to Union, Common App would not allow me to submit Union's application because it would notice that a recommendation that it was required was missing. It would force me to assign at least 1 teacher recommendation before I could submit Union College's Common App. So in summary, ask the teacher personally, work out the details of that arrangement, time frame, any sort of meetings or resume that teacher might want prior to writing. Then go into Common App, invite them through this invitation and manage recommenders tab, and then college by college go through and make that teacher recommendation assignment college by college. You'll notice that Common App also allows you to identify recommenders under other categories beyond teacher. So if you have a community member or a coach, somebody who's not a teacher that you want writing on your behalf, you could enter them into your recommender bank as an other, even specifying a specific category within that other category, and then assign them to a particular college um, the same way that you would assign a teacher. Be careful how you assign those other recommenders because some colleges only accept certain other recommenders. So you can see that in the case of Union College, they take pretty much every category of other recommender, an arts teacher, clergy, coach, and so forth. You might find some schools that only allow other recommenders from specific categories. If you run into that situation after assigning a teacher or a recommender to one of those subcategories and a college won't take it, go and see your counselor. We'll find a way to get that recommendation to the college. So ask, invite, assign. Good luck, and keep your counselor posted on your progress.